There are roads you'll pass without a second thought, and roads you'll never forget. On these haunted highways, strange lights, whispers, and vanished travelers are part of the journey. Let's travel down 9 roads where shadows linger and curiosity can come at a cost. Number 9, Route 2A, Haynesville, Maine. Route 2A stretches through northern Maine where the forests grow dense and the silence feels heavier the farther you drive, especially after nightfall when the road seems to narrow and the trees lean closer as if listening. Travelers have long spoken about a young girl who appears along the shoulder during storms or heavy fog, standing just inside the reach of headlights, small and still, only to disappear the moment a driver slows down or pulls over. What unsettles people most is how often the road seems to turn against them. Accidents happen here with unsettling regularity, particularly in winter, and many drivers say visibility shifts without warning, as if the darkness itself is moving. Those familiar with these stretches report strange sounds carried by the wind, soft crying, whispered names, or footsteps crunching through the snow when no one else is there. Truckers who know these woods well admit Route 2A carries a quiet tension that never fully fades, a feeling that something is waiting just beyond the beam of your headlights, watching you pass, counting the seconds until you're gone, and sometimes even nudging your awareness, making you second-guess every shadow and every sudden bend in the road. Number 8, Boy Scout Lane, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Boy Scout Lane is easy to dismiss at first glance, a short, unpaved road swallowed by forest, but those who enter it rarely forget how it feels once they do. The legends tied to this place have changed over time, stories of a Boy Scout troop lost to fire, abandonment, or violence, but the unease remains constant regardless of which version you hear. Over the years, even casual explorers have reported strange anomalies. Headlights flickering when no one else is nearby, car doors unlocking on their own, and shadows darting between the trees that seem too deliberate to be wind. People who drive down the lane speak of sudden cold spots even in summer, of engines sputtering for no clear reason, and of the unsettling sense that someone is standing just beyond the trees, close enough to hear you breathe. Some claim they hear voices carried on the wind, whispers that echo with familiarity but vanish when acknowledged, while others say footsteps follow alongside their vehicle without ever revealing a source. Locals avoid the road not because of signs or warnings, but because the land itself feels wrong, as if it is holding its own memory, a history too heavy to forget, quietly watching every traveler and waiting for them to leave, or sometimes never leave at all. Number 7, Munger Road, Illinois. Munger Road looks ordinary, almost forgettable, until night falls and the silence settles in around the railroad crossing that made it famous. The legend tells of a tragic school bus accident involving children and a train, a story that may not be fully documented, but has embedded itself deeply into the area's collective memory, passed down not as a warning sign, but as something quietly understood. The quiet of the road seems almost unnatural. It's the kind that makes your own thoughts echo in the dark, and even those familiar with the area admit it carries a strange, lingering presence. Drivers describe pulling onto the tracks late at night and feeling their cars move, and as if nudged by unseen hands, some claiming their vehicles roll backward even when placed in neutral, while others report fingerprints appearing on dusty bumpers with no explanation. There are accounts of headlights flickering, radios cutting out, and a sudden heaviness pressing in without warning, leaving drivers tense and unsure of their surroundings. Locals avoid stopping here entirely, especially after dark, because too many people describe the same sensations, and because whatever happened on this road feels unresolved, as if the past still expects acknowledgement. Travelers report returning the next day hoping it was imaginary, only to find themselves uneasy all over again. And some insist the trees themselves seem to lean closer, as if urging them to leave before they stay too long. Number 6, Highway 61, Mississippi. Highway 61 runs through the Mississippi Delta like a quiet witness to history, music, and loss, carrying stories that feel older than the pavement beneath the tires. During the day, it hums with life, but at night, the road stretches endlessly through flat land and swamp, where fog rolls in thick and sound seems to disappear altogether, leaving drivers alone with the rhythm of their engine and their thoughts. The Delta's history is heavy here, with stories of vanished travelers, old murders, and old songs sung for luck at crossroads, adding a layer of unease that never fully fades. Travelers speak of strange lights hovering far ahead, never getting closer yet never falling behind. and of moments where time feels distorted, miles slipping by without memory. Some report seeing figures standing near crossroads that vanish when approached, or the fleeting glimpse of a silhouette stepping silently across the road. Others describe a deep sense of being watched from the darkness beyond the roadside, a pressure that seems to follow, lingering in the periphery of vision. Locals still use Highway 61 out of necessity, but many avoid its loneliest stretches after dark, saying the road feels aware, as if it remembers every soul that passed through, and some that never left, leaving its passengers with a lingering dread that is difficult to shake. Number 5. The Spooklight Road, Missouri-Oklahoma border. Near the border between Missouri and Oklahoma, there is a stretch of road where the night sky does something it shouldn't, a place where a glowing light has appeared for generations, drifting, pulsing, and sometimes moving as if it knows it's being observed. Known simply as the Spooklight, the phenomenon has drawn curiosity seekers and skeptics alike, yet no explanation has fully silenced the unease it inspires. Over time, tales of strange interactions have accumulated. Drivers report that headlights dim inexplicably as the light approaches, radios crackle, and sometimes the air itself seems charged with a static tension. Some witnesses say the light grows brighter when approached. Others claim it retreats or vanishes abruptly, leaving behind a silence that feels heavier than before. Others have described hearing a low humming, footsteps along the shoulder, or a sense of being followed even when the road is otherwise empty. Locals have grown accustomed to its presence but not comfortable with it, warning travelers that curiosity can quickly turn into unease if the spooklight draws too close. Many avoid driving the road after sunset, not out of fear exactly, but because the light has been appearing for far too long to feel accidental, leaving those who witness it with a haunting question: is it a trick of the eye, or something else entirely watching the night? Number 4. Zombie Road, Lawler Ford Road, Missouri. Zombie Road winds through dense forest near old railroad tracks, a place where history never quite settled, and silence feels deliberate. Long before it earned its name, the area was marked by railroad accidents, industrial tragedy, and whispers of violence dating back to the Civil War, events that locals believe left a lasting imprint on the land. There are rumors of figures seen near the tracks that vanish when approached, sudden drops in temperature, and a suffocating stillness that seems to press in from every direction. Even during the day, travelers have spoken of inexplicable sounds, shadows darting through trees, and an unsettling feeling that the forest is aware of them. Those who once walked or drove the road at night describe shadowy figures slipping between trees, voices carried on the wind that don't belong to anyone nearby, and sudden cold that settles without warning. Some reported hearing their names whispered. Others claimed footsteps followed them until they reached open ground. Locals warn outsiders to avoid the area entirely after dark, insisting that even now, the forest feels restless, as if it resents being disturbed and remembers every step taken through it. People who venture too far often report a disorienting sense of time and distance, as though the road itself stretches unnaturally, keeping travelers longer than they intend, ensuring that the stories and the unease live on. Number 3. Shades of Death Road, New Jersey. Shades of Death Road announces itself long before the fear sets in, its name alone heavy with implication. Winding through thick forest, the road carries stories of disease outbreaks, violent encounters, and unexplained deaths that stretch back generations, layered so deeply that no single explanation feels complete. The atmosphere along this stretch seems charged, as though the land itself remembers every life lost, every tragedy whispered along its edges, and visitors say that even the wind carries a weight that presses against the senses. Drivers traveling the road at night report seeing figures standing just beyond the tree line, motionless and watching, disappearing the moment headlights sweep across them. Others describe strange lights near the nearby lake, glimpses of shadows moving unnaturally, or the unsettling feeling that the road itself is subtly shifting, distances stretching longer than they should, making it hard to gauge how far they've actually traveled. Locals avoid the area after sunset whenever possible, not out of superstition alone, but because the air seems thick with unspoken stories, and the road feels crowded with ghosts of the past, as if it refuses to let travelers pass without notice, leaving a lingering unease long after they've driven away. Number 2. Highway 666, the Devil's Highway. Once known as Highway 666, this remote stretch of road earned a reputation that refused to fade even after the name itself was changed. Cutting through vast desert landscapes, the highway became infamous for a high number of fatal accidents and for stories that drivers struggled to explain, accounts of phantom vehicles appearing suddenly in the rearview mirror, dark shapes closing the distance far too fast, then vanishing as if they were never there at all. Drivers have spoken of figures standing motionless in the road late at night, forcing sudden stops, only for those figures to disappear the moment headlights hit them. Others describe the unsettling sensation of being chased across miles of empty pavement, engines revving, heart racing, with nothing visible behind them. Even locals who dismiss the legends admit the highway feels hostile after dark, too quiet, too exposed, as if the desert itself is watching every movement. The number may be gone, but many believe the road remembers what it once was called, and that memory still lingers in the dark. And if you think a road like this sounds unsettling, the next one goes even further, because what sets it apart is how consistently people have reported the same experiences, decades apart, without ever comparing notes. Number 1, Clinton Road, West Milford, New Jersey. Clinton Road is not haunted by a single story, but by many, layered together until the line between rumor and experience becomes impossible to separate. Stretching 10 miles through dense forest, the road feels isolated even during the day, and at night it becomes something far more unsettling. Drivers report phantom headlights following closely behind them, only to vanish when they pull over, while others describe figures crossing the road where no paths exist. There are stories of a child's spirit tied to one of the bridges, of strange sounds echoing through the woods, of animals behaving erratically, and of a constant feeling of being watched from just beyond the tree line. What makes Clinton Road the most terrifying isn't any single legend, but how consistent the experiences are across decades. Locals avoid it after dark whenever possible, not because they believe every story, but because too many of them sound the same. These haunted roads are reminders that not every journey is safe, and not every silence is empty. Shadows, lights, and whispers follow those who venture too far into the night. Travel carefully, and never underestimate what waits unseen. Join us for the next discovery.